Hey Veronica, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just waiting for everybody to get here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I went to the wrong meeting, so
Well,
that
you
could
did.
happen. I did, and then I realized I was the only one there. So that was my indicator. You're in the wrong place. Try
Oh,
again, V.
okay. Which one did you go to?
I went to Mondays. I
Oh,
thought I
okay.
was I thought I was in Tuesdays until nobody was in the session.
Yeah, I show on my phone. Yeah, you joined Inspiration for Art. Right.
Yeah, right. Wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not that uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
that,
know.
that's why I sent that email out, and it's
Yeah,
very clearly Monday,
yeah,
and then a space, Tuesday, and then a space,
yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
See, and I didn't clutter it up with all the stuff. I just put just the link, you know, and that was it, and the name of the class. So, yes, I was trying to hope, hoping that you know people would not get those confused because I know, like there are particular people who always have trouble with that. And I get notifications, oh yeah, they joined this meeting, they joined that meeting, but it's not the day for the meeting. So they're,
Yeah.
yeah, why? Or we're not having a meeting today. Why are they joining? You know, I'll be out doing the plein air class and somebody's joining the Zoom meeting. It's like, we don't have one. Okay. Hi,
Things
John.
happen. Hi, John. Hi,
Hey, how
Susan.
we doing, everybody?
Good. And Susan, how are you?
I'm great. I just had a great nephew born today. So
Oh,
Well, congratulations.
yeah.
Congratulations.
And where
uh,
is this?
he's in Jacksonville, but he comes to Atlanta. He'll be here a lot. His parents and his sister come here a lot. So uh,
Good.
we'll see him. We'll see him a lot.
Good.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like being around, my grandchildren. And then of course being around my family in West Virginia, I'm still trying to figure out all the connections there. That'll take me years. Not to mention the one in Arkansas. Um, and it's like, you've been out of touch with these people for, maybe it's been 5 or 6 years since you've seen them. And in that 5 or 6 years, it's like there are they're having their children are having children, and then some of
right.
those are even having children, and it's like there's all these people around and you have no idea who they are. Yeah,
Right.
Uh,
it's like,
yeah,
you know
they're
that guy,
planning to
yeah,
move back
he's
here in a
yeah,
few
he's
months.
an old geezer over there in the corner. So wow. Yeah, families are great though. I mean, I would have never had thought in any way that, based on, my family, which there were four of us, um, that there would be as many children and grandchildren, and, because I think growing up, everybody like, no, yeah, don't want kids. Yeah. Okay. And now, it's like, what, my sister's got four, I have two. Michael has got, I think, four. Rick has zero. Uh, but then, Mike's kids, they're having, well, they've had kids. Some of them have three or four children, and some of those three or four children are now teenagers. And you know, and Mike is like 8 years. Well, yeah, Mike is 8 years younger than me. So, you know, and now, of course, my son has made me a grandfather multiple times over. I'm waiting for my daughter to start. Just can't. Just can't wait for that. Not.
I think one of my daughters to start, but I don't know that they're going to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've always told her, basically, you can't get married till you're 33. You can't have kids till you're at least 33, 34, because by then you'll actually know what you want.
Yep.
So now, I have no expectation that she's actually going to listen to me.
Well, if she
Right.
does it before the 33 mark, 33, 35,
Yeah.
she'll understand after she has them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she will. Yeah. Yes, the reality will stand on her. Like it has all the rest of us in life. So, but yeah, it was anyway. So it's time. Let's get started. With the three of you here. Who are we missing? I guess we'll find out in a minute. All right. So we're gonna share some things. And I'm gonna start at the bottom of the list today. And that would be Veronica. Ta-da! See, Veronica gets to be first up on deck today. Oh, Jean Goldstein, that's who we're missing. She
Yeah.
sent stuff in. Yeah, but she's not here yet. Maybe she'll join us later. Okay, so Veronica. All right, line and tone drawings. Okay. We've been talking a lot the last couple of weeks about the line quality. Okay. Should it be soft? Should it be hard? Should it be thick? Should it be thin? And the reason we're talking about that is it's like a language. When you make a line, you're actually telling somebody something. You're describing, okay, not only what the shape of that object is, but how light is hitting it. Whether or not it's a soft surface or a hard surface, right? And so when you're putting down lines, let me blow this up a little bit. I want you to slow down a little bit, and I want you to ask yourself a question. Okay, does this line right here represent, what's going on in that area? Okay, and is it the same as it is here and here and at the kneecap and here at the abdomen, right? So should that be one continuous, line that's the same all the way from where the elbow is all the way down to the toe? It's a question. Yeah. And yeah, shaking your head no is the right answer. No. Because what you have to consider is there's a lot of different stuff going on there. Okay. Let's just start here at the bottom. Okay. And coming off the foot going up the leg. And the foot, by the way, really ends, somewhere up about halfway up the shin bone. Okay. And that's because all of those ligaments and muscle tissue and stuff like that, there's a band like right here, and they all tie in under that, and then they spread out to each of the toes and the underside of the foot and the back of the ankle. And that's how you get the flexibility and mobility, because you've got all these muscles that are attached down to this thing. But when you if you sit at your desk, and this is a good exercise, by the way, just wiggle your toes. And where do you feel that? And do you feel it like almost like halfway up your shin? See? Because that's where they attach to. And so the line from here to there is going to be very different than from that point up to the kneecap. And how it would normally change would be, this would be a very fine, sharp line. And it may not be dark because it may have a lot of light hitting it, right? But then when it gets down to about here, it really changes direction, starts heading toward the foot. And what happens is it gets softer. And the reason it gets softer is because right there on that lower part of the leg, around the shin bone and stuff, some of those muscles begin to actually come in front of the shin bone, particularly like right down here on the instep of the foot. And so it gets really kind of soft in here. And then it might get a little harder on the foot out to the toe. But again, the line has to change because what's going on there is changing. Where the muscles are, where the bones are, right? And what happens, to those different types of surfaces when the light hits it, even if it's the same light, that same light could be hitting like the front of your arm, and it's going to be a very different thing than the light up here on the collarbone, because the collarbone is a bone and it's sharp and it's hard. And up here at the top of the shoulder, it comes very, very close to the skin surface, right? And so it's going to be more reflective than, say, the bicep, right? And so all I'm saying to you is think about what's going on there, okay? As far as, am I drawing an area where I see bone that's close to the surface, or am I drawing an area where I see that there's a lot of muscle or fat or, skin, and making it look softer, right? And if it looks softer, make the line softer. If it looks sharper and harder, make the line sharper and harder. Okay. Follow, sort of follow what you've seen and what you're observing. Okay. Anyhow, I know that's been kind of a long-winded thing, but that's kind of what the point was of doing the line drawings. And I want you to keep practicing doing those. Okay.
Okay.
The movement, the proportion overall is all pretty good. Now you did kind of the same thing that just about everybody did, which is, you got the leg in the front, which was very straight. But what you missed is right here at the hip, the body actually kind of came forward a little bit, and there was kind of an arch
Okay.
right here. And then there's kind of more of an arch in the back, because she really was like she's pushing off of this foot right here, and that's kind of propelling her forward. And when you just kind of keep that one straight line, you don't break it or anything, or push the curve to it, then it makes it look like she's just standing still.
Okay.
Yeah, and she wasn't. Okay.
Okay.
Did you do the other drawing?
That one was a mess.
That one was a mess. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can learn from messes.
Okay. I'll send it next week. Well, this week for next week.
Yeah. Everybody does know we're not going to have a class on Friday, right?
Yeah, they closed the center.
Right. Yes. For Veterans Day. All right. So next we got Susan. Susan, what can I say to you? Oh my goodness. Your drawings, okay? I've watched your drawings change over really the last almost like year and a half, 2 years. And you're getting a much more convincing figure these days than you were a year ago. I mean, you're getting a lot better at this. You're beginning to kind of get the idea of laying down value and tone a little bit. You're still struggling with that line thing again, and we could talk forever You're not the only one. But your drawings really are coming together really quite nicely. You know, your proportions and things like that are beginning to work. And when you look at your drawings, they're much more convincing figures than even really like 3 or 4 months ago. You know, so
Thank you.
yeah, evidently you've been drawing quite a bit and practicing, you know, and just, you know,
Yeah.
building up your skills and you know, this is good. This is a good solid little drawing for you. Okay, now is it anatomically perfect? No. Okay. Could the lines be better? Yeah. Okay. But from where you had been to where you are, it's getting a lot better. Okay. So I want to just compliment you on that. And you know, on this one as well. Okay. And as Veronica was saying, you know, this really could have been a mess. You know, there's a lot of overlapping forms, there was a lot of foreshortening. It was, you know, it was not an easy drawing. Okay. There was a lot to look at and a lot to figure out there, and you did really well with it, you know, getting the relationship of where the arm goes and the hand to the hip and the back. And you've got the hip almost back far enough, you know. I saw so many people, you know, in the room really making this back almost straight up and down. I mean, they got the curve there, but the shoulder, instead of being up here, was way back here. And it looked like she was sitting straight up. And yeah, it's like, no, you got to get her bending over. But yeah. And you've been working on drawing faces too, quite a bit, you know, and you're getting that idea down, which is good. You know, the structure of the head and the side plane, front plane of the face, you know, things like that. So, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Yeah.
She got the artist in the back too.
Yes, she did. Yes. Yes.
A little something of him. Yeah, I didn't get much of him, but
Yeah.
I started.
Well, there wasn't much to him anyway, you know. He was just a fuzzy looking face with a pair of glasses on, you know. But you got the idea that somebody is back there in the room, and you actually got the cabinetry and, you know, the fact that she's actually, you know, sitting on something that seems to be elevated over him. And so all of that, you know, kind of fit together really nicely and worked fairly well. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
So that's good. Let's see. Now, who could this be? Oh, it's that guy, John Gigliotti. Hey, John.
That guy.
That guy. You know, okay. I'm just gonna kind of put this out there. All right. You're getting the idea of varying the lines. Okay. Are you making good observations and getting that right all the time? No. Okay. But you're getting closer. You are. You're getting much closer. Okay. And your drawings are beginning to look, you know, more thoughtful, you know, and like you're really making an observation and trying to figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
And in fact, you know, in using Conte, your drawing looks a lot more like a classical, you know, sort of Renaissance drawing. So you're getting some of that Leonardo da Vinci, you know, feel to your drawings. So
Yeah, my previous life.
yeah, well, you know, hey, if you got to be compared to somebody, you know, that's
Right.
Okay, so you know, all I would say to you is, you know, your line work, like I said, you're more conscientious about making a variety of different types of lines. You know, and you'll get better as time goes on. You know, it's
Well, I'm not used to using Conte either, and I know I struggled a little bit on how to get the line that I wanted.
right, yeah. But you know, a couple of weeks of drawing with Conte, and you'll get that down. You know, I mean, Conte and charcoal are really two of the easiest medias to draw with.
Uh-huh.
you know, because you can rub them and soften them and things so much easier than you can, say, graphite pencil. Okay. And you can get in there and you don't have to be as careful with Conte because you know that you can push it around and lift it and move it. Now let's talk about values. Okay. So your line work, you know, overall, you know, sets up pretty good. Your proportions, again, overall, you know, not bad. Okay. But you really could have kind of punched up the values a little bit and separated out some of the shadow from the, you know, the mid-tone and the light. Okay. But in looking at how you did the drawing, you know, you're using the eraser to pull out your lights. You would tone the paper back. Okay. Yeah, it's just you've got good, strong emphasis in some of the areas of the line to attach to a shadow, but then you haven't really attached a shadow to it.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, here under the, where's my cursor? Like here under the arm. So you've got a bit of a shadow as it gets kind of fuzzy there, right? With the line. But under the breast, so you've got a nice sharp line, but then when it gets in here, see, you could have made that value a little bit darker, like down in here, and it would have actually attached to that line and to this knee and that the top of that thigh. And it would have kind of held that shape there for you and kind of felt like, oh, okay, they're all connected to a darker area or a plane that's turning into shadow there. And so it's just a matter of tweaking the values down a little bit in some places. The same thing with the arm, you know. Yes, the upper arm, like up in here, had quite a bit of light, but as it moved down the arm, overall, this arm was darker than the leg, either of these legs, you know, because of what it's actually doing. You know, if you really think about what she's doing there, her hand is actually going across her body.
Right.
See, and she's leaning forward, right? And so there really wasn't a lot of light hitting that arm. There was light hitting the breast. There was light hitting the top of the knee and the top of that leg there, as well as the top of the shoulder. But all of this was somewhat darker than all the rest of this right in here. Okay. Let's take a look at your buds. Okay.
And that we had, I showed that last week. We talked about
Yeah.
the bird, and the flying bird was too strong, so we tried to
Right. Yeah, just
Yeah.
softening back. All right. And what are your thoughts at this point?
well, it makes a difference. I think I got it shows a little more depth. I did, like we talked about, we wet it and then blotted it.
Mhm.
And then I also darkened the foreground ones a little bit more, trying to get more contrast.
Okay. Yeah, and it worked. You know, I think it worked really well. That's just me personally. But, you know, now you definitely, you get a sense that there's some distance between the birds and that they're not all right on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you two think? You know, Susan, and got any thoughts?
Any thoughts on?
About, you know, do you think that works? Do you think it doesn't work?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Veronica and Susan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna let them kick in here.
Oh, okay. All right, Veronica, you're on.
I think
I
it
was on
works.
mute, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it works beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank
You know, in a way, and I've seen this in your work before, in your watercolor, you almost have this sort of kind of sparse, sort of Asian, you know, feel to some of your watercolors. You know, they're very much so like Japanese or Chinese watercolors. And that's a complimentary thing, you know, I mean, those things are beautiful. And they work really, really well. But yeah, I mean, you know, yeah.
I think John's colors are beautiful though.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Susan, you got anything to kick in on?
I actually like to draw birds also. I haven't done them in a while, but yeah, I mean, his are very precise and very, yeah, I really like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they feel like a blue heron, and they're blue, and yeah. So yeah, all of that
They're
works.
blue, they're purple, there's red in there, there's
Oh yeah.
green. A lot of colors.
Yeah. Yeah. Now to compare it, I think that's where it was previously,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
that's where it is. You know, and it's kind of a subtle difference, but it's a big difference. You know, that one bird taking off back there is definitely, you've definitely moved him back in space considerably.
Yeah, when you see the tuna, you really see the difference.
Yeah. But yeah, good. Yeah, good job on that.
Thank you.
And then we have a lovely little rural farm scene. You and I must be thinking about the same things. I've got a watercolor I'm working on right now. That's very similar to that. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of a composite of different pictures and different thoughts. One morning, I can see the ridge of some trees out my kitchen window. And one morning they were covered in fog, and you could almost not distinguish them at all.
Right.
And then my friend was all taken up with the colored tree on a different property, taking a picture, and it was basically at the end of a parking lot, and there was nothing really surrounding it. It was just the basic tree. So I tried to put it all together.
Okay. And that's not a bad thing to do. Okay, so if you squint your eye down and, you know, just check out the values in here. Okay. And so does the foreground, you know, does that orangey sort of tree in sort of the center, does that move forward in front of everything else? And the answer is, yeah, seems to. You know, do the green trees, you know, here toward the bottom, do those seem to sit back a little bit from it? Yeah. Yeah. You've knocked the intensity down just a little bit over there. And so over on the left-hand side, all of that away, you know, if you start at that orange tree, everything seems to move back really nicely up into the hills in the back. Okay. Now let's talk about the right side. Now the right side, not so much. Okay. Okay, you've got the fence line running along here, and that pulls our eye back. Okay. But the question is, does this green recede in the same way that the green over here does? And their answer is not quite as much. Okay. Again, you know, you've got really the same actual color and value, you know, behind this barn as you do all the way up here and all the way up here by this tree.
Yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if this were the exact same kind of plant, okay, but there were several of them, and this one was furthest away and this one was closer, they can't be the same.
Correct. Yep.
You've got to kind of soften this one or this area back in here to get it to sit back. Now it still has to be dark enough, you know, to give you the contrast around your roof and where the front of the barn and the roof meet. So that's one thing. And then the other is this area up in here. And again, because of where it is, and it's supposed to be back behind several layers of trees, again, it probably needs to be a little bit softer, a little more muted, not quite, as strong as you've got it right now. So it's just a matter of kind of tweaking it down.
Right.
Again, as you do that, what's going to happen is that tree and this whole foreground area is going to move forward for you.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, it's so again, it's just a matter of push and pull. Okay.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about the composition a little bit. Okay. Everything sort of starts high on the right-hand side,
Yep.
and then it all seems to kind of fall off the bottom corner as it moves to the left. And I guess my question is, okay, I get the idea. Okay. I get the idea that fence line and the brush and stuff like that. Where is my cursor? I can't even find it. Okay. Along here,
Yep.
this is way back away from us, and then this is coming toward us, right? And
Correct.
there's a corner
Yeah.
right here.
Right.
Okay. And if you had a corner, see, that line probably would have run, and these trees would have ended up higher back here.
I see. Yep.
In perspective. And
Yep.
see, that would have given you, it's kind of like looking at the corner of a building, right?
Yeah.
Because you really are, you've put that tree right dead in the center, right?
Yes.
And then you've got that 45-degree angle. And if it's 45-degree angle, then it's going to go back equally. See, it's not like one side is going to go necessarily downhill and the other side's going to go up, unless
Right.
the land is doing something like really funny, like it's really kind of rolling,
Right.
like downhill or something like that, which could happen. Okay, I'm not saying it
Yep.
can't,
Yep.
but optically, in the composition, it just makes it feel kind of heavy and kind of awkward over here to the left. Okay, when you did that. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that now. Yep.
Yeah. Now one thing you could do, okay, wild and crazy solutions, right? Some of these trees, they could move backward and forward. This doesn't have to be a straight line, right?
Right. Right.
So some of these tree trunks could come down a little further, right? A little lower in the picture plane, and the tree could be a little bigger. See, just, maybe one of them, like up in here, and then let these be lower, and then maybe the ones behind it lower. And again, kind of break that shape up a little bit and make it a little more irregular so that you don't get, you don't get the perspective line going off.
Right.
And then this going downhill like that. See, like if this tree ended up here, see if it kind of filled this space right here, then the lighter trees here being shorter, wouldn't really bother you because you can see stuff like that out there in the world, right?
Right.
Not all trees are the same size.
Right.
And particularly if you're changing the type of tree, So yeah, I would work on the composition of that one a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of think about it a little. Okay. Okay. And then Gene sent him some I can't talk. Wow. End of the day. Gene sent in
That other. Yeah, that one's still mine too. That I took the picture before I started doing the highlights. That was just the line.
Okay, that's the line. Yeah, and I've got it accredited to Gene, and it's not, it's yours.
Yeah.
Gene sent in the turtles. And these are her turtles, by the way, which are really beautifully done. Let's go the other way. Yeah. I mean, you know, I kind of get the feeling like I am underwater and I'm looking up at the turtle.
Yeah, whatever she did, because the last time it wasn't as
Well,
much.
Yeah, I think this one is a different one. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did several of these, but this one in particular is like really beautiful. I really like the feel of it, and it feels really just right. You know, it feels like you are down underwater looking up at this turtle gliding over you. You know, and I think I'm looking for my cursor. Yeah, this one in particular is like really dynamic because that turtle is like right there in front of you, right?
Yep.
And then again, though, she still has that same kind of feel of the water, you know, and the light, you know, coming from up above the water. And I think she really pulled that off really, really nicely.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Was it Bob? Was it Bob that did a turtle a little ways back?
No, I think it was Gene.
Saran?
Oh, you know, Surin did, yeah.
Saran, okay.
Well, he did a painting and it had a sea turtle, but it had other fish and stuff in it.
Right, yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking of.
Yeah. But the difference is, you know, when you look at Surin's painting, you look at Gene's, as I remember it. Gene's got a lot more movement
Yes,
and
yes,
directional, and it's kind of, in a way, it's more abstract and simpler than Surin's, but in many ways,
Yeah.
I think it works better.
yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah, and she's got more of that sense of light, you know, coming in from above the water than Surin
Right.
was able to kind of pull off. And this is the one you were talking about, where I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. You know, this turtle to me just looked like, I don't know, you know, somebody stepped on him or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not, yeah. Anatomically, he looks like he's having a hard day. You know, now the idea, you know, and where he's at, the composition, you know, is all pretty nicely done. I like the way she handled the water in the background in the others better. And I think, you know, she's not here, so I don't really know. But I think that this was the one that she started with, right? And
I think that was, yes.
yeah, and she couldn't work it out. And so then she's done two more
Yeah.
and really
That one I think is great. That's really
yeah, I mean, really, both of them are beautifully done, you know. And so, yeah, it didn't work out on the first one, but it was a good idea. And you see the difference in the water.
Yes.
You know, much more sort of directional, not streaky looking necessarily. And it kind of feels like water moving. It's more kind of organic.
Well, you also feel of light coming down from the surface on this one.
Right. Yeah. Well, in both of these, yeah. Yeah. She was a lot more successful at that than she was in this one. Yeah.
Right.
And that's it. Okay. Then after that, you got to put up with me and my stuff. That's my watercolor of some, you know, rosebuds that I did. And that was a request from one of my nieces in South Carolina. And I got to ship that off to her. She's all of about 8 or 9. She likes roses.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, but you know, just playing with the watercolor. And again, you know, same thing, you know, I wanted to kind of push that edge and that part of the flower back, you know, so it set it clearly behind this flower here. And so got a little bit of a depth thing going on there. In looking at it, I could still probably wet that just a little bit up in here and just blur it.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. It looked a little too.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit too sharp and a little bit too strong. And yeah, I probably just need to go knock it back just a little bit, before I call it done. Now I had fun with these. This was a model that was over at the Sunday drawing group. And these were 2.5-minute poses. And what it is, it's a page in my sketchbook. I've taken this sort of purpley kind of mauve neutral color and I painted out the page, again, just so that I'm not drawing on white paper. Okay. And
Was that acrylic?
it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's just acrylic paint. Yeah, it was some leftover acrylic paint that I had, and I didn't want to waste it. So I just put it in my sketchbook and did, 2 pages. And then, so I started with a brush pen. Okay, and so all that is like a fine line pen, but it's got a brush tip on it. And I really like drawing with those. They can get fairly expressive with them. And then I took it's called buff titanium, which is, something close to white, just a little bit warmer and, maybe a little more neutral. And I just sort of spotted in the highlights of where I saw the light on her figure. And that was it, and that's all you really had time for in 2.5 minutes. But still, it kind of got the idea of the figure being there. So I was happy with those. This is the long painting that I did of her, with her tattoos. And, I got, kind of a likeness of her. Not great. Okay. It's not the best painting I ever did of someone. But again, this is about a 2-hour painting. This is an acrylic. And it's, I want to say it's like 12 by 16, something like that. So not real big. And then this is a drawing of a model that used to work with us at Benson and everywhere else. Her name is Claire. And this is a photo I had of her. I used it for the drawing class. So anyway, I wanted to go back in and do a tonal and line drawing. Okay. And reason I wanted to show this was I wanted to talk again, since we're talking about drawings and putting in value and also putting in line and using them together. This is a good sample, more or less, to show you that, you might start off with a very fine line here, right? But, you almost lose it because of all the light hitting that part of the arm. And in some places, you really can lose it. You don't really have to have a line. If you've got a light shape against a different value background, you don't really have to have a line there, to hold that shape. But again, even within the arms and things like that, I tried to get a range of value. Okay. It is not the same value here as it is here, or it is there. See, I've varied them, right? And I've given us a little less contrast down here and a little more contrast here because it seems to be closer to us. So again, playing with those values, playing with, the line, where it's heavy, where it's soft, where you see a line, where you lose a line. It's literally is a full language, that you have out there. And you just have to kind of build up the skill and the tools to use it. So.
And that's Conte?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, on newsprint. Yeah. So, and then I'm going to show you something that kind of in progress. I actually started it when I was on my trip. And this is my acrylic palette, by the way. It's just a metal butcher tray. And when I'm using acrylics, what I do is I take some paper towels and I just fold them up till they're, you know, like a thick pad. And then I wet the pad, and then I put the acrylic paint on top. That paint can sit open in that tray like that. Sometimes, depending on the weather, as long as it's not real hot, usually about 3 days. And you still have paint that you can pull out of there and use. So you really, you know, you put a fair amount of acrylic paint out there, but you don't really waste it. You know, you can use it, you know, for quite a while. And if you cover this, then you can keep it even longer, sometimes for weeks. And it will stay wet. And, you know, all you have to do is take the lid off, sit down, you know, maybe clean off, you know, the center part right here, which is really pretty easy. If you just start, you know, with a wet paper towel or something and wet that down and let it sit for a minute and then just wipe it all off. Nothing sticks to that metal enamel, really. So it's fairly easy to clean up, which is the thing I really like about it. Anyway, so I started, you know, I started all over, and I started on this is a 16 by 20 canvas. When I was up in Washington, I started a color sketch of my daughter, and it was about 11 by 14. But the more I looked at it, the more it bothered me. Just it wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do. And for one, you know, it made her body look really kind of compressed and squatty in the original one. And so I was very conscientious about, you know, taking the time to actually draw in paint, you know, where everything was and measure it and try to get a more accurate drawing to begin with. And so I was much happier with this. And you'll notice I'm not painting all in one color, you know, or drawing all in one color. The sort of sienna color, which is this kind of yellowy brown, that was sort of my first pass, you know, the very first drawing I did. And then after that, you know, the red was kind of a second pass where I corrected some things and moved some things. And then after that, I went back in with this mixture of the sienna and a little bit of blue, which got really close to black. You know, just to, again, you know, go back in and restate things before I started actually putting in, you know, blocks of color. And then, you know, I went ahead and, you know, fleshed out the background, you know, sort of the environment that I wanted her to be in. And then I started putting in color blocks. And so that's kind of where it is right now. It just kind of roughed in, you know, nothing's finished, but, you know, in looking at it overall, it's got more the feel that I was kind of hoping to get than the original had. So by far. So
Now this one's oil?
pardon?
This is oil?
No, this is acrylic.
Oh, it is acrylic, okay.
Yeah, no, I started the first one in acrylic, and when I came back, I started messing with it. Probably not a good idea, really. And I didn't help it any, and I just got frustrated with it. And I couldn't really put my finger on why I was frustrated or so frustrated with it. But I think one of the reasons were just the proportions and the composition. It just didn't fit together quite the right way, or the way that I had really envisioned it. And so yeah, it was time to, you know, kind of go back to the drawing board and start again. And so I did. You know, a lot happier with where this one is going right now. Let me grab the original so I can show it to you. All right. So I'll do a stop share. All right, so if I hold this up, can you kind of see what's going on there?
Yeah,
Okay, because it's again, I put in a fair amount of time, into this when I was up in Washington. And I was happily painting along and getting caught up in the sweater and did, a really nice hand. Actually had her face on there about 3 different occasions and didn't like any of them. So I just kept going back in and mucking with it. And I think what I've done in going back and working on it is, I've blown up her head and made it bigger and bigger every time I went back in. So the proportion is like way out of whack now. And
but this one seems to have a little more of a foreshortening with the hand coming forward that I didn't see in the other one.
yeah, well, that's because it's more finished. Yes. Yeah, by far. And yeah, and it's this hand is a lot more finished than anything in that other painting. So yeah, because the other one is just kind of roughly blocked in right now. But just to let you know, it happens to me too. Okay. Sometimes you just get yourself in a pickle and it's like, what do you do? And you just, you work through it. I'll probably share those with you later. I actually took some of the original photos and the sketches and the drawings that I did, and I actually put them all together in Photoshop to figure out, the composition that I wanted, and I should share those with you guys. Kind of it looks like a Frankenstein, but it's, you can tell what's going on. So, and kind of where it's supposed to go. So anyhow, that's about all I got, folks. And it's only 2:52.
Yep.
So you guys have a whole hour you could go out and run around and play in the sun.
Oh, it's so beautiful outside.
Oh man, isn't it? Today is like an absolutely perfect day.
Yes.
Yeah. I just got told by my landlord here that actually tomorrow in the morning, early, some roofers are going to show up and they're going to start tearing off the roof and putting on a new roof on this house. So
Wow.
yeah. So we've got like probably a week of chaos.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, to look forward to. And like tomorrow's supposed to be nice, but then Thursday and Friday, well,
Not very nice.
yeah, Friday there's like a 90% chance it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Thursday is like 60%.
Yeah.
No.
Thursday night into Friday is what they said. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then it's gonna get cold. Sunday's supposed to be like in the 30s in the morning.
oh yeah. Along with it getting wet, yes, the temperature is going to go down considerably. Yeah, Sunday night it's supposed to be 32.
Yeah.
And by next Wednesday it's supposed to be 30. So
Whoa.
yeah, below freezing. That's why I told you guys. Enjoy these days. Get out and paint now.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get kind of chilly out there after that. So anyway, but tomorrow we have a class at 10 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
we'll be talking about pushing paint around. And so maybe I can show you a little bit more about the process on working that composition out, and hopefully introduce you to a few new painters you have not, met before. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Anybody got anything else? Okay. Everybody knows that today is election day, right? Voting day.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
already read one.
Yeah,
I
I
voted
did.
early.
I did the absentee, I mailed it in, and I checked online and they received it, so
There you go.
I'm
You're
set.
covered.
I'm
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, early voting is definitely the way I go anymore. I mean, I voted like almost, well, it's like the second or third day they opened it up. You know, I just wanted to do it, get out of the way before all the crowd showed up.
Yep.
You know, and actually Maria voted. Maria voted for the very first time ever.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Wow.
she
Wow.
well, she just became a U.S. citizen about
Fantastic.
about a month ago, 2 months ago, and so
That's
she just voted for the very first time. Very proud. Of her.
Excellent.
Wow.
Tell her congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said actually there weren't a lot of people at the poll when she went there, but the lady kind of looked at her license and everything, and she said, "You're voting for the first time," and she said it loud enough that everybody could hear, you know, and everybody started clapping,
Yep.
which I think is great. You know, I think it's great.
Yeah, very good, very good.
So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Okay,
too.
enjoy, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.